Now we'll move into the company news. We're going to start with a big one you guys have probably heard about in the news. LinkedIn scraped user data for training before updating its terms of service. LinkedIn users in the US, but not the EU, EEA, or Switzerland, likely due to those regions' data privacy rules, have an opt-out toggle in their settings screen disclosing that LinkedIn scrapes personal data to train content creation AI models. The toggle isn't new, but as first reported by 404 Media, LinkedIn initially didn't refresh its privacy policy to reflect the data use. The terms of service have now been updated, but ordinarily that occurs well before a big change, like using user data for new purposes like this. The idea is that it gives users an option to make the account changes or leave the platform if they don't like the changes. Not this time, it seems. So what models is LinkedIn training? Its own, the company says in a Q&A, including models for writing suggestions and post recommendations. But LinkedIn also says that generative AI models on its platform may be trained by, quote, another provider, unquote, like its corporate parent, Microsoft. So to opt out of LinkedIn's data scraping, you can head to the data privacy section of the LinkedIn settings menu on desktop, click data for generative AI improvement, then toggle off the use my data for training content creation AI models option. You can also attempt to opt out more comprehensively via a form, which is linked in the article, but LinkedIn notes that any opt-out won't affect training that's already taken place, because of course not. The nonprofit Open Rights Group, or ORG, has called on the Information Commissioner's Office, or ICO, in the UK's independent regulator for data protection rights to investigate LinkedIn and other social networks that train on user data by default. And as of tonight, we do actually have an update on that. LinkedIn has stopped grabbing UK users' data for AI. I'm going to go ahead and quote the executive director of the ICO. We are pleased that LinkedIn has reflected on the concerns we raised about its approach to training generative AI models with information relating to its UK users. We welcome LinkedIn's confirmation that it has suspended such model training pending further engagement with the ICO. So first off, again, I want to be my usual sarcastic self and say that regulations never work. They don't do anything and doesn't matter. That said, this is extra crappy from Microsoft and LinkedIn. Okay, look, I understand that in some industries, LinkedIn actually is a really valuable tool that can help you find jobs, which I understand it's a tough economy right now. But I really encourage you guys to ask yourselves if you're really getting anything out of LinkedIn. Because as someone who hasn't had a LinkedIn in years, all I see are memes about how people keep posting ridiculous, stupid stories there. And I'm doing fine. Like, I'll admit there's people who make more, there's people who have better jobs, but like at no point has any of my mentors or my bosses or anybody, at no point have they come to me and been like, you know, a LinkedIn would really help your career right now. Never been an issue. So I think there's probably a lot more people that have LinkedIn than actually need it. But yeah, at very least, go in, turn that off.
My main reason it's not really that, because I'm not typically a job searching. It's just to plant the flag on my end, just because there's been some people who try to impersonate me online. And so if I don't claim certain accounts, then that's not good for me.
I feel like that's kind of an exception, though, because at that point, you're not really posting anything. You're not doing anything that isn't already public knowledge. So
either way, I wanted to confirm that, yes, I logged in just to double check. And yes, this was enabled by default for me. And I had to turn it off. And it was obnoxious because I feel like every 2 weeks, there's some new freaking setting in LinkedIn that's obnoxious that I have to disable. It's like they invent new types of notifications every month that I have to go in and disable, because I disable all LinkedIn notifications because they suck and they're stupid, and 90% of it's just spam and people I don't know trying to connect with me for some reason. Does anyone know what a connection means? Because I don't. So I just connect with people I know. I think my actual serious rant here is I find it really obnoxious how these platforms think it's okay to just roll out privacy invasive features that don't require any opt-in, that don't require any user notification. And we're actually going to talk about one that was really obnoxious as well that did this. And it was another AI feature from a company that should know better.
Thanks for watching this clip. It's actually taken from the Surveillance Report podcast, which is our full-length podcast where we talk about privacy and security news every single week. We post it on YouTube as a video. We also post it on PeerTube for those of you who don't like YouTube. And we also post it as an audio version that you can find on every major podcasting app, as well as just RSS. Check us out either here on the screen somewhere or at surveillancereport.tech, and stay up to date out there so you can keep yourself and the people around you safe.